one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2 3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Yo, big basketball show tonight. Big basketball show, yo. What is up with it? How you doing? How dope was the day? Yo, sometimes I just be hitting up people like out of nowhere after not hitting them up for a while, just to, check in on them, like what's good with it. Cause, truthfully, when I stop fucking with people, it's not really that I stop fucking with them. I'm not the type of person that really be feeling like texting every day. I'm not calling, checking up on people all the time. It's not that I have a problem with that or nothing like that. Like, I do that with certain people. I wish I did it more with a certain person, my best friend. But, I'm not that type of person, really. Maybe I should try to be. I'm not, though. So I'll be hitting people up out of nowhere sometimes. And they'll be like, oh, like, it always be good vibes and shit. The funniest part of all of it is always how the conversation could be going smooth and everything like that, and the person out of nowhere be like, well, stop being a stranger. Or at some point in time in the conversation they'll be like, yeah, and you like to be a stranger and blah blah blah. And every single time I want to hit the person with, well, the phone works both ways. The phone works both ways. But you see, I'm not that type of individual. I never feel like bringing that type of energy to a conversation, because that causes problems. And I'm not here for that. But listen, you're going to hear a heater going in the background. I'm just telling you right now, you're going to hear a heater going. Because the heat is not fucking with us tonight at the crib. Got to get that checked out. So the heater is about to be on full fucking blast tonight. And I think something wrong with it. So it got a weird sound to it, but that's all right. We're gonna work through that. Just think of it as white noise, basically. You know what I'm saying? But the NBA playoffs are among us, and I haven't been consistent with the uploads, but I'm about to be more consistent with the uploads again. Gotta find a way to grow the audience. Really, that's my biggest goal this year, is to find ways to grow my audience. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like once I start to build an audience, I'll continue to grow and whatnot. And I'm not saying that I need people to watch me to get better. No. I respect and love the grind. But, it's just a goal to learn how to grow the audience. But either way, a lot of wrestling on the channel the last couple weeks. We talking basketball now, though. Illicit. Before we get started, I just gotta say this. I'm not talking baseball on the channel for a minute. I'm not talking baseball until the Phillies get 10 games above 500, buddy. Sorry, some bitches just lost again tonight. I'm sick of this shit. We got Bryce Harper. And listen, I don't blame Bryce for nothing. Listen, Bryce gets no blame from me. Neither does my ace, Zach Wheeler, because he was hurt and sick over the offseason. He didn't participate in spring training at all. He will be fine. I have no concerns about him. So Bryce and Zach get none of my frustrations. Like, I'm never talking to Bryce when I'm talking shit about the Phillies. Like, ever. Never, ever. And I'm never talking to none of the players, really, as far as like attacking them or nothing like that. We do need to step up and play better. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am pretty irritated how bad we done started off this season. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's a big frustration. But it's gonna be good. But I'm not talking about fucking baseball again till my team get above 500. 10 games above 500. Shit's embarrassing, bro. We just lost to the fucking Rockies, man. And I just think it's weird that in the fucking hitter's ballpark we had a pitching duel, and we supposed to be a team that's got bombers. Like, man, but that's neither here nor there. We NBA playoff time, baby. Anyways, Yo, what's up with Jordan Poole? Yo, Twitter is a very weird place, yo. And we're not even going to start off with Jordan Poole, but I do want to say something real fast. Twitter a weird place. Jordan Poole had an interview with Malika Andrews. I saw the interview when it happened. I thought nothing of the interview. Like, I just thought it was a regular interview. I didn't think Jordan Poole did nothing, out of the ordinary. But weirdos on Twitter who just like to put people together in their head for some reason instantly, I guess, just took a screenshot of the interview while Jordan Poole was looking at Malika Andrews, and they turned it into some fucking, oh, Jordan Poole probably want to fuck Malika Andrews, oh, Jordan Poole like Malika Andrews, and I'm like, what? Bro, y'all really weird, yo. I'm dead ass, yo. Y'all weird. I mean, it's just weird that y'all see a man and a woman talking to each other, and instantly y'all think, oh man, they gotta be fucking. Or he gotta wanna fuck her. Like, y'all really gotta grow up. Like, that's kinda embarrassing. Like, he can't even, two grown adults, man, woman, of the opposite sexes, cannot have a conversation without y'all motherfuckers instantly hopping to, oh man, he might want to fuck her. Oh man, she want to fuck him. Oh man, they want to be together. Oh man, they must be dating. Oh man, they make cute couple. Like, what? Come on, man. Yeah, this really weird behavior. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I couldn't really diagnose it for you, but it shit's weird that y'all do that. Like, the man was just having an interview with Malika Andrews, a person, and then I'm looking at him get interviewed tonight, and it's with a dude. And I'm thinking, I wonder, was Malika supposed to have this interview, and did they change it because of these dipshits on Twitter? Or maybe Malika just wasn't scheduled to work tonight. I don't know, man. But y'all motherfuckers truly is weird. I mean, dead ass, bro. Now I guarantee you, motherfucker, Malika Andrews. Now she's a professional, so maybe she's ignoring this and pays it no attention. But I'm pretty sure, when she talk about Jordan Poole now, because that's her job, and he's balling out in the playoffs, so she should be talking about Jordan Poole, motherfuckers gonna continue to make it weird, bro. Like, y'all motherfuckers gotta grow up and get a life at some point in time. And at first I didn't really think nothing of it. I was like, oh, I guess motherfuckers just want all motherfuckers to be happy. But now y'all just weird, bro. Dead ass, y'all. Because it ain't just like, oh man, they would be a good couple. It's like, oh man, look at Jordan Poole, he definitely want to fuck her. Like, are y'all serious, bro? Like, and maybe he do, but I mean, Jesus Christ, bro. Y'all motherfuckers are weird, man. Either way, let's hop to this Kyrie. Brother Kyrie. You know I got to talk about Brother Kyrie and the Nets. Listen, first off, the Nets had it was a thriller yesterday in Boston. What do they call it? TD Gardens or Boston Gardens? I don't know what the arena called, but Boston I don't think Boston gonna win this series. I think the Nets will win this series in 7, just purely off of the fact that KD and Kyrie are the best two players in this series. As much as I like Jason Tatum, I don't think Jason Tatum is better than Kyrie. Jason Tatum had a very good game yesterday. My problem is not even necessarily a problem. What I want to see is Jason Tatum evolved to the point where now he can put these type of games together back to back to back to back. Because if you the star of a team and you want to evolve into the superstar of a team, these is games you're going to have to start. These are series moments you're going to have to start winning, and you're going to have to be able to put together these type of games. Mind you, you're going to have some type of efficiency in there at some point in time. Like, this was a very efficient game for Jason Tatum. And I'm not saying that efficiency is everything. It's not. But there will be games in which you have to be a ultra efficient player. And there'll be games where you could just shoot a bunch of shots, and as long as you keeping your team in it by scoring, it'll be fine. You don't have to be efficient. But there will be games where, the possessions are very slim. And so you have to be efficient with every single one. And when Jason Tatum can put together night after night after night after night after night in the playoffs, great games, and it's not even about winning. Just be the best player on your team every single night. Have your team in these games. Give them a chance. And if they don't have a chance, you can't be the reason they didn't have a chance. You have to look like the man every single time. And that's the next evolution in Jason Tatum's game. Because every time I see people talk about the Celtics, and shout out to Marcus Smart, who just won. Excuse me. Hold up. Bless me. Thank you. But shout out to Marcus Smart, who just won Defensive Player of the Year. He deserved it. I thought at some point in time, like, it was going to always be hard for a point guard to win Defensive Player of the Year, especially when you got motherfuckers like Kawhi, Paul George, Draymond, AD, but defenders like that walking around the league. But Marcus Smart has been one of the better defenders, one of the best defenders since he came into the league. He reminds me of Draymond. I just don't think he is as great as Draymond. But to me, he and Draymond resemble each other a lot, in the sense that they do a lot for their teams, and sometimes it go unnoticed. Now, like I said, I do think ultimately Draymond is the better all-around player. But both of them is dogs, as we say in the NBA. Both of them is great defenders. I think the real difference between the two is that Marcus Smart, as great as he is, he can't defend the 5 and the 4 as efficient as Draymond can. And really it's odd that Draymond can defend those two positions with his height. Like, it's very, I still can't compute in my head, like, how the fuck is Draymond so great at defending 5s and 4s when he is only 6'6" or 6'7", going against 7-footers and 6'8", 6'9", damn near 300-pounders and shit. That's very weird to me. Like, I can't figure out how Draymond is so great at that. But, you know, nonetheless, shout out to Marcus Smart, because one of the best defenders in the game, definitely all defensive first team point guard. Shout out to him. And I think they said, like, no point guard done won this, or no point guard has won Defensive Player of the Year since Gary Payton, I believe. Which is what I thought when I had when I heard the news that he had won this award. I was like, I bet you this is the first point guard to win this since Gary Payton. And I think I was right. So shout out to Marcus Smart. But back to Jason Tatum. The next part of Tatum's game, like I said, to become a superstar. Because I see a lot of people talk about how the Celtics is a two-man team. But listen, one man cannot win a championship for a team. I do agree with that. But you do have to have a number one. It can't be Tatum sometimes, Brown sometimes. You know, it can't be that. Like, Brown have to have... To me, Brown would be a phenomenal second option. Like, he can be the second guy. And that don't mean, like... To me, him being a second dude would be... If he can evolve his game, would be better than... Chris Middleton. Mind you, Chris Middleton just won the Bucks won a championship as Chris Middleton as their second best player. Like, I think he's second over Drew. I think Drew is the third. But he, to me, could be a phenomenal second for this team. But to me, Tatum have to be the guy. Like, he have to be the one. And so it can't continue to be like, oh, it's Brown sometimes. No, Brown can have great games here and there. But Tatum need to be the man every game from here on out. In my opinion, if Boston is going to have a legitimate chance at winning a championship, because I haven't thought Boston was a legitimate championship contender since they got Tatum. And it's not because of Tatum or nothing like that. It's because at one point in time, they were young. But then, to me, this is just not a team with a championship player on it. Like, a player who can get them over that hump, who been there, done that. When Tatum... Right now, Tatum and Brown is still growing into great players and whatnot, and they are already great players. Like, Tatum is a perennial all-star. Brown could be too, but they not. Because I don't want to say they're not championship players, because a lot of players are not championship players. They done had playoff runs and whatnot, but I just don't think that they are championship ready yet. But if Tatum can find a way to evolve his game, because if Tatum can become a top 5 player in the NBA, then Boston would become a championship contending team. But I think as great as Tatum is, one of the best young players in the game, I don't think Tatum a top 5 player right now. Now, he probably not a top 10 player if I really think about it. And against KD and Kyrie, like, it's no way I can pick Boston to win a championship when they going up against a team and they best player on Boston is two players on the Nets I would take before him. And then if they had Ben Simmons, that's a toss-up. Because I wouldn't take Jaylen Brown over Ben Simmons. I know there's a lot of people out there who say they would, but I'm not stupid, bro. Ben Simmons, when he is healthy and playing, motherfucker's a perennial all-star, bro. You're not finna be just disrespecting Ben Simmons just because you don't like him, because he didn't want to play for your team. But to me, I got the Celtics losing this series, but it's a big reason I had them losing this series is because I just don't think yet that Tatum is the it's gonna sound disrespectful. I don't think he the guy in a sense that I do think Tatum is that guy. I think Tatum is that guy. He gonna be a championship player. He can lead. He can be a championship. But I just don't think. And maybe it's because of the coaching. Maybe not even. I don't even think because I think the coach they got right now is a good coach. I thought Brad Stevens was a good coach. Neither one of those dudes is championship winning coaches though. Even though the coach they got now was with Pop, he ain't Pop. It's like I really do think a coach who was like Boston is a weird situation because I don't even think it's the team as much as it is the organization not really putting together a legitimate championship team when you think about it. Because like when you got Jaylen Brown and Tatum, imagine if they had Anthony Davis, a healthy Anthony Davis, or fuck that, imagine if they had Paul George. That's a championship team. Imagine if they did find a way to get KD. Or imagine if they had Kawhi. You see what I'm saying? I just think this team always been missing that one piece. And even though Boston has some good teams over the last couple years, they haven't had their good teams continue to lose against teams that have a great player with a great team. Like a game-changing, series-changing player. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why when they go up against a KD and Kyrie, I don't see them winning that. They go up against a Milwaukee with a Giannis Antetokounmpo, I don't see them winning that. But I do think this will be a good series. And they escaped game one with a phenomenal play at the end of the game. And that's what great teams do. I done seen the Spurs do it for so long where they might not feel like the better team because the other team might have great players and whatnot. And you might have thought like Pop and these guys are old and whatnot. But they team play always seem to win out in the end. Like I saw them beat OKC a couple in the playoffs once because they was just a better team. They drew up plays and whatnot. And OKC was just relying on KD turn, Russ turn, KD turn, Russ turn. And that's what it kind of felt like it turned into for the Nets at the end of the game. And I'm not truly understanding Steve Nash's position as head coach. And listen, I get that Kyrie and them brother Kyrie said that they don't really need a head coach. I'm not really taking it as literal as a lot of people was taking it. I think Kyrie didn't really mean that we don't need a head coach as much as we good enough. We done been there, done that to where we shouldn't need a head coach, having to guide our every little move. We should be able to be good. Because it's just like when people were saying the war. For one, you can't get mad at Kyrie for saying that when it was motherfuckers legitimately out there saying the Warriors don't need a head coach when they was a great team. Every team LeBron done been on that was good, people said they don't need a head coach. LeBron the head coach. Like, so come on, bro. You can't get mad at Kyrie when he actually say what y'all motherfuckers say on a regular basis. Like, come on now. But I don't think he was taking a shot at Steve Nash. Would I have said it? Probably not. Probably would have worded it a little bit different. But, I'm not mad at Kyrie for saying that. And like I said, I think I understand what he was saying in the sense that it's not that we don't need a head coach, but me and KD and at the time, they didn't have Harden at the time. At the time, it was just him and KD. They were basically saying, listen, me and KD are good enough to where we shouldn't need, like I said, we shouldn't need a head coach needing to guide our every single move. We done been to the mountaintop before. We done been to multiple finals appearances. We done played in multiple big games. You know what I'm saying? We good. You know what I'm saying? We should be able to, get us through games and shit without the greatest of coaching. I really think that was a, not a shot, but more like a compliment to Nash, or like a, Nash don't have to worry about, I just don't think it was a shot. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, at the end of that game, I don't really know, and I'm not taking a shot at Nash, but I don't really know his purpose in this, because I was thinking like he run more of a D'Antoni type of system. But it's at the end of this game, Nash, I know you're not a defensive-minded head coach, and your expertise should be offense. My guy, at the end of this game, what offensive plays are we calling, bro? It's basically you're letting KD and Kyrie get doubled and trapped, and you're not really running plays. You don't have constant ball movement happening, and you just came from Golden State. This is what I'm saying. You can't say that Golden State don't need coaching when Steve Kerr is who implemented this system. Golden State's team did not play like this when they had Mark Jackson. I'm just telling you, I watched those Golden State teams. The movement, the ball movement that they have now with Steve Kerr was implemented by Steve Kerr. Steve Nash came from over there with the Warriors, and obviously he played under D'Antoni for a long time. But I'm just focusing on his time with the Warriors. If anybody should understand ball movement and whatnot can help your players, especially your great players, get better looks, it should be Steve. Now, maybe Kyrie and KD is not translate. Maybe that's what he want to do, and that's not what they doing. I don't know, but I just know you got to be. The play calling at the end of the game really reminded me, or lack of play calling, it just reminded me of KD's time in OKC. And if that's what this is going to be with the Nets, then it's no shot that they win a title either. And if that's what this is going to be with the Nets, then if this is what the Nets will be, where it's not really a system in place, it's just your turn, my turn, going off of the who hot at the time, then yeah, Boston will end up winning this series, because great coaching and great team play will ultimately win out over that type of play, because I don't subscribe to that. I've seen that way too many times in the NBA where you got teams with two great players or a great player who don't play within a structure of an offense and whatnot. Like people say, oh, Kobe a ball hog. For one, that's a lie. Two, he played in a triangle offense. Like, he never deviated from the triangle offense. Of course, it was times where he had to go ISO, but he still played within the confines of the system. A lot of great players play within the confines of their systems. Yeah, they was allowed a little freedom here and there, or at any point in time in the system, but they, for the most part, played within the confines of their system, or play in their system. KD, to me, never really played in a system in his NBA career other than Golden State. And to me, in OKC, one of the biggest problems as to why I didn't think they would win a championship was because their coach Scott Brooks really wasn't having. Like, they ran no true offensive plays. It was Westbrook turn, KD turn. Westbrook turn, KD turn. And when they had Harden, of course, he would get his turns when he came off the bench. But it was never really an offensive system in place to take advantage of the fact that you have three phenomenal scorers and could get them open at any point in time if you ran. Like, could you imagine if Golden State system was what the Oklahoma City Thunder used with Harden, Westbrook, and KD? Because people keep saying it don't work. But if Russell Westbrook played the Draymond Green role, and I'm not talking about just being defending fives and shit. No. They had Serge Ibaka. They had Steven Adams. They had guys who could do that themselves. But if he just played the facilitator role, who could get to the basket like a Ja Morant and whatnot, but they constantly had ball movement, guys moving around, getting KD his looks, and you can't tell me KD can't play in that type of system because he played in it in Golden State. So, you know, if this is how the Nets gonna run their team, where it's not truly an offensive system in place, and at the end of the game you just relying on Kevin Durant and Kyrie to make big shots, you're not really setting them up in a system or nothing like that, or calling legitimate plays, then yeah, I think the Nets going to have a problem, because the talent can only take you but so far. Because you're going to run into a team that's got just as great a talent, and they might not be KD great, but they great, and they probably got a great team and a great coach and a great system around them. And to me, that'll win out every time. But I do want to talk about Kyrie and the Boston fans. Obviously, people know about Kyrie and the fans in Boston. Listen, I done addressed fans so fucking many times, and I'll keep addressing them. I have no problem with that. But listen, for one, I don't have a problem with Kyrie flicking the fans off, because, you know, I thought about this. At first, I was like, I probably wouldn't have did it. More than likely, it's not even a probably. I wouldn't have done it. I'm just not a flick somebody off type of person. I don't really get a middle finger out. I don't think I done really done that since I was probably a child. Unless I was probably like doing it playfully with one of the homies or something. But even then, I can't remember. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just ain't never been the middle finger type of motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It's funny though, cause like 2-3 months ago, I was on a highway driving to work, right? And we was in a traffic jam, and there was a car that pulled up near beside me, and it was like a minivan with like, I want to say 6 little girls in the back who probably was like in probably in like fifth grade, 6th grade probably. Every single one of them, except for the one on the farthest right or the farthest left, flicked me off. Every single one of them. It was like 4 or 5 of them in the car. It was a minivan, and a lot of them was packed all closest to the window to my side. So that's like the right window from where I'm sitting at. Almost every single one of them was flicking me off in the back and laughing like a motherfucker. And I thought to myself, this is hilarious, because it feel like every kid do this. And I even remember like me doing it once in my lifetime, but never really doing it again, because I was like, bro, what if that motherfucker had a shot? Because I had saw a movie, I think, the next day or like a couple days later with something happening to somebody who flicked somebody off. And I was like, oh shit, what if that shit happened to me? So I never really did it again. Plus, I never had an interest. You know how girls do that growing up, all them females, or girls that do the little sticking their middle finger out, sticking their middle finger up with their lips poked out and their ass is poked out. You remember that pose, bro? At least me growing up, that was a popular pose for me. Shit, I know women to this day who like 26, 27 years old who still do the middle finger pose. But hey, ladies, this wasn't just shots fired at you, because dudes gonna catch some strays too. Because I be seeing dudes post the same old 2 middle finger poses too, bruh. With the money, they probably got money in the picture somewhere, some alcohol in the picture somewhere, and they got a middle finger in the money probably in their mouth. Yeah, the money probably in their mouth. My bad, I was scratching a bump. But either way, couldn't see myself acting like Kyrie, responding like Kyrie did. However, could see myself, because I'm not trying to paint myself at the beginning, could see myself responding the way KD be responding. The fans say, hey, KD, you need to take over this game. You need to sit your bitch ass down and shut the fuck up. I can see myself doing that. As a matter of fact, I 100% can tell you that's probably my response. Like, no cap. But even though the middle finger wouldn't have been my response, I have no problem with what Kyrie did, especially when he tell you after the game I'm giving him the same energy they give me. It ain't like he hit him or nothing. And I just think it's so sport. I swear to you, professional athletes, professional sports is the only like jobs where fans and people. Now let me stop using these terms, fans, athletes. It's the only business and jobs where humans can be disrespected consistently and it be applauded or defended. I watched Shaq, and I think Shaq was kind of coming back off of that statement a little bit towards the end of the night, trying to soften it. But I've seen so many times former athletes get out of the sport, get on TV and commentate and say, you know, that's just fans, you got to deal with it and blah. But no, you shouldn't. And I see these goofy ass media members get on TV and defend fans and say, like I saw Colin talk about today, like, oh, this is the path Kyrie chose. You know, when you choose this type, bro, these motherfuckers is truly acting like these dudes is villains or something out of a comic book. Like, oh, you chose the path of evil, so now you must suffer the consequences. Like, bro, these are human beings who chose what was best for them and their lives, and y'all is really pissed off and mad about it and turning this shit into something more than it really is. Kyrie is right. It's been like 3 to 4 years. Get over it. Y'all have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. There is no reason why Boston fans should still be booing this man. It's no reason. Like, I don't even think Cleveland fans boo Kyrie. Either way, Cleveland fans should get over it too if they do. But the fact that Boston can continue to keep... Now, mind you, while I'm saying get over it, I have no problem with Boston booing Kyrie. Or Kyrie sucks. I have no problem with the typical sports banter and shit. What I do have a problem with, and what I agree with Kyrie on, and what many athletes is talking about, and what I cannot stand that the media for some reason continues to tell you, oh, it's just how fans are. You got to get used to it. That's a part of sport. No, it shouldn't be a part of sports when you got fans disrespecting players. Calling that man Kyrie everything but his name. Got fans calling him the N-word. Got fans calling him a pussy. Got fans calling him a bitch. You got fans calling him a motherfucking ass. Like, come on, bruh. Shit they would never say to this man on the streets. Because they paid a ticket, they are allowed to be disrespectful and act as if they are animals or something. And then you get people on TV coming on TV acting as if this shit is cool, talking about some, yeah, that's a part of sports, that's a part of fans, you gotta get it. Like, I legit saw Pat, and I love Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee, I don't think he get it. See, him saying he don't like people going to the getting the police to get the fans out. But see, the athletes truly can't win. So now it's a problem if we go to security and tell them to get the fans out. Or it's a problem if we respond to these soft ass fans. Not to mention, they probably take these actions or say something. LeBron took the actions he took probably after being heckled on some ignorant, disrespectful shit by those fans for the longest. These athletes don't have a problem with you booing them. They don't have a problem with you saying they suck. They expect that. What they should not have to expect is you taking shots at their kids, their family, them. Like, this is a sport. Y'all love to say, oh, it's just a game. It's a kid sport. But y'all treat these athletes as if they killed somebody. If they did something truly criminal, you degrade them. You talk about them crazy. You slander them. You do everything but stick to the actual sport. Them beating your team or sucking because they play for your team and what people like to say is why you take disrespectful shots is wild to me. And like I said, the media continue, the sports analysts continue to get on TV and act as if this shit is cool. They done built up this culture of fan toxicity and disrespectful behavior that would not be tolerated anywhere else. In any other profession, this behavior would not be tolerated. But because people don't look at these athletes as humans, as people, as fathers, sons, daughters, husbands, wives, you think it's cool to treat them and say anything you can. And it's so crazy to me. Not even crazy. It's just beyond stupid that you can have analysts continue to get on TV and act as if these athletes are reacting to just common heckles. As if fans are just chanting boo and shit like that. Which is why I like Shannon. Because Shannon don't be getting on TV saying what goofy shit that everybody else gonna say. He was being 100% when he talked, bro. Which is why I fuck with Shannon. But listen, Kyrie, and I don't agree with everything Shannon say. He be hating on Lamar Jackson. But in this topic, most of the time, if not all the time, he try to keep it 100. But he be hating on Lamar Jackson. It just is what it is. But I have no problem with what Kyrie did. Now, obviously, I don't think Adam Silver gonna get fined. But to me, what Adam Silver is doing, along with the media, is enabling the fans. Listen, no, you cannot allow Kyrie to flick off the fans and curse at the fans and shit like that. I agree. But like Kyrie said, the athletes can't be the only ones. And I think he kind of stumbled over word. I don't think he meant humble. Athletes can't be the only, and maybe he did mean humble. But athletes can't be the only ones who act professional. They can't be the only ones who act like they was raised in a home with some home training. They can't be the only ones who act humble, like he said. They can't be the only ones who have to be the bigger person and turn the other cheek. No. If Adam Silver find Kyrie and nothing happened to the fans, then this shit will continue. You cannot have fans that's in Utah continuously chanting racist and disrespectful shit. People in Boston doing it. People like Boston baseball crowds is definitely a problem. But like, you can't keep having this. Like, it really should be some type of punishment in place for fans. Fans should start being fined and shit like that. Because this shit where you got these athletes having to continue to come to work, and then you say, oh yeah, it's a hostile environment, but that's a part of the job. A part of the job is a hostile environment when the chants are just booing you and shit like that. Hostile environment is a completely different story when you got fans being completely disrespectful and chanting shit, chanting disrespectful shit or saying disrespectful racist shit about you, your parents, your siblings, your children, your personal friends and shit like that. Like, no, bro, it's lines that you can't cross that the fans continuously jump the fuck over. And the media the sports media wake up the next morning and always make it seem like the player is the victim. Not to mention Colin Cowherd trying to make it seem like that Kyrie deserves this because of the path he chose. Like I said, bro, what kind of comic book shit is you living? Like, what kind of comic book reality is you living in, bro? You saying Kyrie deserved to be disrespected as a human being just because he did not want to play in Boston? What? And I don't want to hear this shit. Oh, well, Kyrie lied. He said if they would have me, I would return. Well, for one, I see motherfuckers say all the time, was it a written agreement? And then it's so funny how it's you care when a player lie, but you never care when the organization lie. Because organizations lie every day when they cut players without fulfilling the contracts. But I never hear people bitching about that. And that's very odd to me. Y'all done been trained and programmed to treat these athletes like animals, like less than, as if they are just pawns and, characters of your entertainment. And that is a problem. And it say a lot about us. A lot about people, humans. It's funny. Shannon said at some point in time, Americans going to have to stop saying we better than this. Because are we? Are we better than this? Because I don't see it. It feel like it's getting worse. And like I said, they love to deflect and put it on the athletes. I see it all the time. People call KD soft after he responds, or is sensitive after he take a shit ton of insults and disrespectful comments, and he respond to one or two of them, and then it's KD sensitive. But all the time you see these analysts get shots taken at them by athletes or people, and they get hypersensitive about it on their shows. So I just think it's very weird how people, how the sports media, and like I said, sports media right now is just a cancer. They are a cancer. They are enablers, and it's not all of them, but it is a lot of them with big platforms and mics to talk as much and as long as they want. And most of them have platforms outside of their own jobs. And that's a problem, because I understand what their job is. But this is not your job. This creating narratives in these stories, I get that. The fact that y'all think it's okay for the fans to act like this, like I said, if it was just the booing and the dope, like, come on, man, I'm a WWE fan, and I understand some of the shit that they say in the WWE you can't say on a fucking basketball court, in an NBA game, or at a football game. Not to mention, hell, people like to hate on wrestling and wrestling fans so much, but these motherfuckers be some of the most innovative motherfuckers you've ever seen. John Cena sucks originated because I think it was an overseas crowd. So maybe I'm actually wrong. Maybe because the Americans probably stole it. Because I think it was an overseas crowd that started it. But I could be wrong. Who started the fucking chants, John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. Like, to his music, they started singing that. That is a creative fucking chant. y'all can't. You telling me you can't come up with some creative chants or creative heckles that's not disrespectful, that take shots at his rate, that's not racist and shit like that? Like, are you serious? Yet your minds are so small, or your need to be ignorant is so great that you can't find, proper ways to heckle. That's very weird to me. And like I said, the fact that the media continues to, the sports media and different retired athletes and whatnot, continue to, coddle fans and act as if this shit is alright, and basically reinforce what the fans are doing, this type of disrespectful behavior. Well, just imagine, I ain't gonna do that, man. But I'm just saying the shit's not right. But the NBA playoffs are in full swing. Now, I expect, listen, Boston did get that win game 1, but it took everything they had to get that. And KD not gonna struggle like that the whole series. And I don't expect KD to shoot that inefficient. But a team that I actually want to talk about, because I'm glad I just thought about this, the Memphis Grizzlies, yo, they did a lot of talking this year, and I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at teams for being happy about winning. I'm never going to tell a team to stop being happy about winning, even if it become obnoxious. Don't care. You act however you act when you win. Shit, act however you want to act when you lose. I could care less. I'm not the type of person to tell a motherfucker how to act, to be completely honest with you. In certain situations, let me tell you like that. And even then, I'll probably tell you what I would have did, what I don't agree with. And if somebody do something outlandish like Will Smith, then yeah, I'll give you my opinions on it. But, people gonna do what they gonna do. That's just the nature of the beast. But I'm not mad at it's just like I'm not mad at Patrick Beverly for how he acted when the when Memphis won the when the Timberwolves won the play-in game. Motherfuckers was like, he acting like he won a championship. Well, I'm not mad at him, because the way I see it is, if I ever when I make $1 million one day, when I sign for $1 million one day and have that in my bank account, I'm gonna act the same way. And it'll be a motherfucker in the back who like, that motherfucker acting like he just signed $1 billion deal. Look at this motherfucker. So the hate is universal, and the hate come in all type of shape, forms, and fashion. And motherfuckers just gonna hate because hating is just its own sport nowadays. So I get, I'm not mad at Patrick Beverly for how he celebrated. Especially when you come here to beat the number 2 seed at home in Memphis. And listen, Ja Morant and them boys, Ja Morant had, I think he dropped 30 or something. But listen, it'd be funny to see what the Timberwolves can do when they fulfill, with all that talent on that team. Anthony Edwards looks to be the man. Like, that motherfucker is talented. And maybe Patrick Beverly is the veteran that they needed. I tell you this, I am fully on the Patrick Beverly bandwagon now. It took a long time because I like hating on that motherfucker. I love hating on Patrick Beverly. But that is a winning motherfucker who I would love to have on my team. Dead ass. Like, I would put Patrick Beverly on my team any day of the week. That motherfucker just understands winning, in my opinion. He gets it. I don't necessarily agree with his antics and everything he do. I never been that type of player, really. When I play sports, I really don't talk shit. I talk shit. Don't get me wrong. I talk shit. But I'm more of I was probably going to talk shit to you before the game and after the game. Now, I talk shit to my own teammates throughout the entirety of the game because I'm seeing them. But when I'm on the field trying to do my job, I'm not really, or on the court trying to do I'm not really too focused on, talking to my opponent. I have played hoops one time and had an opponent talk to me damn near the entire fucking game. Like dead ass. I had a dude talk to me, and this is funny. I had an AAU tournament one time where I was playing against a team that we had to lose against on purpose. Dead ass. Like, we was told before the game that this one team, they team didn't show up to play or whatever. Like, they had forfeited or some shit like that. And so the team that we was playing was like, they had dudes on the team who was like younger than us by like 3-4 years or whatever. So they was like, yo, y'all gotta lose this game. Like, yeah, they came to us before the game and was like, y'all can make it competitive or whatever, but y'all can't win this game. Like, because this is not gonna count for winning for y'all. This team have to win this game because they basically was supposed to play a different team, blah blah blah. They need to get to a tournament, whatever the fuck it was happening. We was just supposed to lose against the team. Not to mention they had a dude on the team who filled in because another dude on their team wasn't there, and the dude who was on their team who filled in could have been on our team because he was basically our age and he could dunk. And so me and this motherfucker was talking to each other because I had to guard him the entire game and he had to guard me. And me and him started off scoring the ball real easy. Like I said, these was like little kids. Like, they wasn't. And then I realized like early in the game, like, yo, I'm just going to shoot threes the entire game. Like, I'm not going to keep going in, you know, scoring on these dudes. Like, because they couldn't, like, they wasn't strong enough to handle me. They wasn't fast enough. Like, they was younger than me. You could tell they was younger than us too. But the one motherfucker on their team, who I play against, who like guarded me the entire time, that's probably the only time in my sports career where I talked to a motherfucker the entire game who was guarding me. Like, me and this motherfucker was talking about everything while I was going. Man, it was times when me and him was just throwing up shots and we was asking each other, did it go in? Like, we would, like, it was that type of day. But that was because we had to lose. Like, we couldn't win the game and shit like that. So I wasn't really tripping. I was just bullshitting around, really. Not to mention, we almost ended up beating the team. We had to let these motherfuckers go on a little run at the end of the game. I think they ended up beating us by like 10 points because they went on a little run at the end of the game. We started bullshitting around. I think I tried to dunk in that. Hey, yo, we had a dude on our team who was tall as shit and couldn't dunk, bro. He could touch the rim and everything. He just couldn't dunk. And shit was the weirdest shit I ever seen. Not to mention, because our coach had got tired of seeing this motherfucker miss dunks throughout the entirety of like the warm-up lines. Mind you, I could dunk. I missed them days. I could dunk. It was other motherfuckers in the team who could dunk. He was the tallest motherfucker on the team and he could not dunk. And I remember the coach one day, I remember the coach saying, if you dunk in the game and miss it, I'm benching you. So do not dunk in the game if you're not going to hit the dunk. And I think he still tried to dunk in the game and missed it. That shit was hilarious. But either way, bro, back to basketball. Back to the NBA. Memphis ended up losing this game. And I see a lot of people going hard on Memphis on Twitter saying, y'all talked all that shit during the season and y'all motherfuckers about to get sent home in the first round. Listen, I don't think they're going to end up losing this series, even though I do kind of think Minnesota is a bad matchup for them. Just for the simple reason, I think if D'Lo play at his best, Carl play at his best, Ant play at his best, then that's gonna, plus Pat Bev doing what he do and everybody else doing what they do. I do think that'll be a tough matchup. However, listen, I'm gonna rely on these young dudes on Memphis, man. I'm gonna rely on them, and I hope they can get it done. But it is funny how fans remember. Like, because I don't have no problem. See, this is the type of heckling that I don't mind. Like, the fans heckling Ja Morant for all the, like, oh, we don't run from the smoke, we running up the chimney and stuff like that. And people bringing that back and finding clever ways to flip that. I have no problem with that. That's intelligent heckling. But I also thought it was funny the troll job that Ja Morant did when he posted with some of his tweets he been posting on Twitter. Them shits is hilarious too. I think he posted a tweet today. It was like, sometimes you gotta let your homies win just to see them succeed and take that loss. And the fans was mad as hell under the comments. I was like, yo, this is really grade A troll job right now by Ja. Dead ass. But yo, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I was fucking wrong about Jordan Poole. The Warriors cannot trade that motherfucker. Hey, listen, trade Kuminga, trade Wiseman, trade what's my man's name? Wiggins. Can't trade Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole is a Warrior. Jordan Poole had 30 in the first playoff game. He got 29 tonight. Curry had 34. Clay had 21. We back, baby. We back. It felt good. It felt good, man. Jordan Poole, man. Curry Jr. Now, when I call him Curry Jr., it had nothing to do with his play or nothing like that. Not comparing him to Curry. That's just Curry's youngin'. Curry's disciple. Curry's young buck. You know what I'm saying? He gonna be the one who carried the mantle for us when Curry retired one day. But he got a lot of time left with Curry, so he could legitimately win a couple championships with Curry before Curry, Clay, and Thompson. But before Curry, Clay, and Dre call it a career. And man, y'all gotta appreciate these dudes, man, because that day coming quicker than you think. I'm not trying to rush it or nothing like that, but listen, I ain't even gonna talk about it no more. But I'm happy for Jordan Poole. Now I see a lot of people out there saying that they mad about Jordan Poole not winning Most Improved Player of the Year. Who really gives a fuck about that award at the end of the day, man? Y'all gotta chill out. Listen, the motherfuckers not gonna give us every award, man. Not to mention, while I do think Jordan Poole could have won that award, I'm not mad at the person who won it. Ultimately, this type of award, Most Improved Player of the Year, as great as that award is, I really never hear them mention that in people's Hall of Fame speeches or on people's accolades, to be honest with you. Jordan Poole looking for something bigger than that. So I'm pretty sure Jordan Poole will be fine. But man, Jordan Poole is becoming a Warriors in these playoffs. If Jordan Poole play like this throughout the entirety of the playoffs, and Curry play like this, and Clay find himself again, the Warriors are winning the championship this year, man. I said it already at the beginning of the year, but things started looking kind of rocky for us. I never lose faith because we got Steph Curry, but other teams, the only team that really I have any type of, and it ain't really fear, the team that I really do think could beat Golden State 4 times is the Phoenix Suns, and that's probably no surprise, but Phoenix beat the shit out of they was beating the shit out of the Pelicans last night. I guess they got bored and let the Pelicans back in the game, and then CP3 said, yeah, but I'm not bored no more, and went ahead and scored 18 in the fourth quarter. The point guard, listen, and I love Chris Paul. He one of my favorite players all time. To me, he the second greatest point guard I done ever watched. I think he 1B to Steph Curry's 1A. I love both. We're not talking about Curry right now. We're talking about Chris Paul. But Chris Paul had an amazing fourth quarter. Now, I really do hope Chris can stay healthy, bro, and have a great playoff run. And I would love to see the Suns take on the Warriors in the conference finals. But man, I feel bad for, bruh. It's not really I feel bad. Just like, the Pelicans, in my opinion, like this team, the Pelicans, what more can this fucking team do when you just don't have supposedly the best player on the team in Zion, who definitely would be a key piece to the team if he was on the team? Like, I don't think the Pelicans should even be in the playoffs right now. I think the team, 10 games under 500. So I expect the Suns to mollywop this team in 4 games. But for the Pelicans, it's just like, yeah, you happy you got this far, but damn, man, fuck this. When is Zion coming back? And I keep hearing all these rumors like Zion don't want to re-sign with the Pelicans and shit like that. I don't know nothing about that. I just know when is this motherfucker getting back. All I want to know is when this motherfucker get back on the court. Because the Pelicans could really fucking use him right now. And I don't really understand why Zion wouldn't want to play for this team right now, aside from the fact that he's just going off the history of this team not being a good organization. Other than that, I mean, you got Brandon Ingram. They went out and brought over C.J. McCollum, who I don't think is a superstar player. I don't even think C.J. McCollum is a star player. I think CJ McCollum is a great third piece to a team, though, because I believe CJ McCollum would be a great third to Brandon Ingram and Zion, because he a better shooter than both of them. But right now, because I don't really think I definitely don't think CJ is a number one. But I really don't think CJ is a number two either, to be honest with you. Which is why I never thought it worked in with the Trailblazers. Like, yeah, him and Dame did a lot of great things together, but ultimately, I think they got to one conference championship game. And like they played insane with each other up to that point. But I just never thought that CJ was truly a number two. Like, I thought he had nights where he played like a number two. And because he had to be the number two on the Portland, he was looked at as a number two. But I never really looked at him as a number two. It's kind of like I used to think that Chris Middleton would be a great player on another team that built around him because of his ability to shoot, especially to shoot that mid-range and whatnot. But the more and more I'm watching him, the more and more I actually feel like he would actually be best if he was a third option on the team. Because I think his days of being a great number two for Giannis is running real slim, just based off of how I be seeing him play sometimes in these playoff games. But at times I blame that kind of on the head coach, on Bud, because I'm like, yo, you don't really draw up plays for Chris Middleton. You don't really put him in the greatest of situations, but in positions to be successful. But then I'll look at a game where he is being put in great situations and he just missing everything, or he just not, doing what you would think a legit number two would be doing. So Chris Middleton is a weird one. With that being said, they had a close game against the Bulls, and the Bulls missed a lot of both teams shot kind of ugly, especially in the fourth. But I feel like this game was there for the Bulls to take. They just missed so many fucking shots. And maybe it was the layoff. I think both teams had like a week layoff, and it looked like it. Trust me, the rust was showing throughout the entirety of the game. And the Bulls had multiple opportunities to win this game. And the reason I really think, and I like the Bucks. Listen, that's the team who I had coming out of the East. What scared me about the Bucks is when a team figure out how to guard Giannis, I just don't know if Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday is reliable enough to beat some of these other teams in the East. Like, yeah, last year they were great. And they did what they had to do in the moments when they had to be great. But I mean, KD and Kyrie healthy now. I don't know, man. I really think Middleton and Drew Holiday have to be, like, they can't have inconsistencies throughout the entirety of the playoffs this year. I also think the reason that they could not make it to the finals this year is because KD and Kyrie are healthy. Because KD and Kyrie is a team that I kind of got. I think that's my pick for the finals. If it's a team that can beat Milwaukee, I think that's the team. For the simple reason, not only do they have two closers, they have two great scorers, they have two like superstar level players who can score for score with Giannis Antetokounmpo. They could even make it hard on Giannis if they drill in threes and force him to have to start, playing the three-point game. But I just think the defense could hurt the Nets. But let's say the defense is doing their job and they build the wall to stop Giannis. Let's say you do what the Bulls did. Because the Bulls not really known as a great defensive team, but look at how they played defense towards the end of this game. Now, you could say that it was just Giannis, with the rust and whatnot, but nonetheless, the Bulls played pretty decent defense at the end of this game. And they had chances to win this game. They just, like I said, couldn't hit a shot. If this happened against the Nets, I just think that's a different outcome. And I think one of the reasons this happens is because, yeah, you believe Giannis can go off and Giannis going to do his thing. But if you can let Giannis do his thing and make sure Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday don't come along for the party, then I just think that put, the Bucks in a real disadvantage. Because as great as Giannis is, as great as any player is, you can't do it alone. And sometimes I just think last year was an odd year, and I'm not taking nothing away from the championship from the Bucks. That was a legitimate title championship, but KD got help this year with Kyrie. And listen, I understand they struggled. They lost game 1 against the Celtics. But those are two dudes that if they hitting, and like I said, the Bucks are a great team, and ultimately a great team would be able to beat Kyrie, especially when you got a player like Giannis. And maybe that's the ultimate thing. But Chris Middleton don't have to be a consistent scorer. Just hit big shots and important shots throughout the entirety of the series. And that could be enough when you got a player like Giannis. But that Bulls game was an interesting game, is basically what I'm trying to say. That was a very interesting game to me yesterday because that was a losable game for the Bucks. It's just the Bulls couldn't hit a fucking shot. And for the Bulls, I do think they missing Lonzo, yo. Lonzo would have made a big difference for them yesterday. And Caruso, bro, the whole time I was watching that game, I was thinking to myself, like, yo, the Lakers really let this motherfucker go. Like, the Lakers really let this motherfucker go. And I'm seeing everybody say, they did Frank Vogel dirty. They did Frank Vogel dirty. Yeah, they did. That's the nature of the beast, though. But I do agree with the people who say, like, how the fuck can you fire Frank Vogel when you basically let all the people that he wanted that helped his scheme be great, you let him go? And that's a fact. Alex Caruso, one of his biggest weapons in his one of his best defenders, you just let that motherfucker sign with another team when it really wouldn't have cost the Lakers that much to bring the motherfucker back. And you look at how big of an impact Alex Caruso had in this game in the fourth quarter. Like, he was as good in the fourth. Now, he wasn't better in the fourth quarter than Chris Paul was because he can't score like a Chris Paul. But his defense kept them in that game for long parts of that fourth quarter. If they could have just found ways to score, he even hit 2 big shots in that fourth quarter. If the Bulls could have got some scoring from Levine, and Levine was in foul trouble along with Giannis, but if they could have got some scoring, some consistent shooting on this night, like, I think they top 3 players all hit like 6 shots or less in this game for the Bulls. So, a rough shooting night. I think when the Bulls look back at this game, they're going to be disappointed because they like, damn, bro, we had this game right there on the table. Like, this game was right there for us to take this game. Like, if we steal this game, it completely changed the series, and we just didn't have the gas at the end of the day. Like, we couldn't hit the necessary shots. But this was a very interesting game because I did not think, like, I liked the Bulls, but I didn't think the Bulls would be in this game. Now, what I will say is this. I don't like the head coach of the Bulls. Not saying I don't like him as a person or nothing like that. He was the previous coach for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I can't think of his name at the moment. I do not. Listen, he did a good job with this team this year, and maybe that's just me still feeling his days in OKC in the back of my brain. But, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, Vooch and, DeRozan and Levine won't shoot the ball this bad, I don't think. And DeRozan done been in playoff games, big playoff games before. So I think they'll be fine. But, boy, they could really use Alonzo Ball right now. They could have used him in that game for sure. For sure. But I think this will be a better series than people think. Now, it'll be interesting if that game really was just a Russ game and the Bucks come out firing next game. Because then if the Bucks go up 2-0, I do think this will be a pretty short series. This could be a 5-game series. Because I don't think the Bulls are a better team than the Bucks, even though I do. The biggest reason being I don't think the Bulls shoot good enough. I think sometimes they could get into a game plan that is exactly what Milwaukee would want. A team that don't really shoot a ton of threes. They could shoot the 3 better than the Bulls. And not only that, they could beat the Bulls at the Bulls' own game of mid-range and getting inside. Because if you just shooting a bunch of 2s against the Bucks, then Giannis is at home. You know what I'm saying? Giannis ain't even competing against the 3-point shots now. If you just shooting 2s and mid-ranges, then he going to just muscle through the paint and whatnot. And I remember as I was watching this game earlier, I was like, yo, Giannis is proof that when you get a motherfucker who's this skilled, that long, that strong, that smart, got that type of move set and this type of skill set, and you throw him in the NBA, man, that motherfucker can become damn near unstoppable. I mean, because Giannis is a fucking problem. Now, I was seeing somebody talk about this earlier on Sports Center where it was like, I do hope that Giannis eventually develop his game beyond this. Because as he get older, he won't be able to rely on this type of his strength game and shit. And I agree. Excuse me. I think Giannis got a hideous jump shot. And it's hard for me to see him finding success with that jump shot for the next 5-6 years because of how hideous it is. Now, I have seen hideous jump shots be successful in the NBA for long times. Like, listen, no disrespect for Deshaun Marion. Unbelievable player, I think. Like, the Matrix is one of the better players who underrated, don't get enough credit. I'm not trying to take shots at your jump shot, big dog, but it was a weird looking, unconventional jump shot. He had a lot of success with his jump shot, though. You know what I'm saying? As ugly or as weird as it might have looked, the bit was wet most of the time. So maybe that become Giannis. But, right now. But the difference between him and Sean, though, Sean Marion shot his shit with conviction. Like, where he knew it was going in. Like, he wasn't second guessing his jump shot and shit like that. He was throwing that bitch up there, especially when he was with the Suns. And he could dunk and shit. So, I just think Giannis at some point in time will have to, and he already developing, a game outside of just, run to the paint, XXX dunk. You know what I'm saying? That ain't just his game no more. But it is still a huge part of his repertoire. But the playoffs gonna be lit, and I plan on being here damn near every fucking night to talk about it. Don't hold me to it though, cause I ain't shit. But I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Got to come up with a better name for these individual sports shows. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes we blend into, we blend into football, wrestling, and the only show that really is just strictly one thing is Wrestling with Saint. Usually that's just all wrestling. Kicking It with Saint is just like all the sports, but eventually I am going to divide those shits up too. I'm just thinking of different names for them. But either way, I appreciate y'all for joining me. The goal this year is to grow the audience and grow my viewership. I appreciate y'all for joining me. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Have a dope fucking day. Tell somebody else to have a dope fucking day. Kiss your mom. Tell her you love her. You only get one of them. I promise you, when she gone, you will not. I saw a tweet the other day that said when your mom dies, a piece of you goes missing that you never get back. And my mom is not dead. Okay? But my mom is older. She deal with health problems and shit like that. And every single day, I have a fear that she could not be here the next day. So I try my absolute best, and I'm human, so it is days where I might not be as talkative, or I might get irritated or something like that. But at the end of the day, I developed this thing where I'm never gonna go to bed mad at my mom. I'm never gonna end my day without speaking to my mom or something like that. Because like I said, or like the tweet said, when your mom is no longer here, it is a piece of you that goes missing that you never get back. I don't never want to hear stories about people talk about how they have to deal with the loss of their mom or parents, because that's not something I'm ready to deal with or something that I ever want to deal with. And even though that is a reality that I will have to face one day, I don't want to talk or think about it. So just appreciate and love up on your mom and your parents, but specifically your moms while they here. I love my mom. You love your moms. I hope my mom have a dope fucking night and dope fucking day. As all of y'all moms out there, tell somebody you fuck with her. Tell your mom you fuck with her. Tell your mom you love her. Give her a kiss. Tell her to have a dope day. Saint out.
How the fuck I pay a couple card notes and ain't even whipping? How the fuck I'm putting food on the table while I ain't living? Cursed from being alone with these dreams of a happy home. So when I think it's really love, I give them anything they want. I got stupid shit I did as a kid defining me lately. When I try to open up a new chapter, they still hate me. My mental, my only drug, so I'm doing this shit alone. Last time I fought depression and she got me on my zone. One bad move for thuggery, hit record from luxury. Pop said some shit that stuck with me. All it take is a mustard seed. Yesterday I copped $40 a pot those. Homie in